Good morning, everyone. Boker Tov and Shavua Tov. This week's Torah portion begins with the laws of childbirth. And the question is, why does childbirth follow last week's Torah portion, which was all about the laws of kosher animals, birds, and fish? And Rashi answers by saying that it mimics the creation of the world, where God first created the animals, the birds, and the fish, and man was only created last. But the question is, why was man created last? And our rabbis say it could be for one or two reasons. It could either be because man is the pinnacle of creation, or because man is the lowest creature in this world. It all depends. You see, when you have a party, everyone arrives in advance in preparation for the guest. The guest is the whole purpose of the party. So therefore, when the guest arrives, everything is prepared for the guest. So one narrative is that God made the whole world, and only when it was ready did he invite mankind, because man is the whole purpose of creation. But that's only when man follows God's instructions on living a moral, ethical, and righteous life. But what happens when man acts contrary to his divine image or her divine image? Then God says, you're not the pinnacle of creation. You're the lowest point of creation, because I gave you a divine soul. I gave you divine intelligence. And what did you do? You became debased and acted immorally. And therefore, in such a case, we say, you know why you're last in creation? Because even a bug, even an insect, takes precedence to you, because you are lower than the lowest insect because of the way you acted. Because animals don't have free choice to not act animalistic. They just function on their instinctual animalistic drives. But human beings who have a divine capacity to act in God's image, to act morally and lovingly and righteously, and yet act in an immoral, unrighteous way, they are lower. So either man could be the highest point of creation, coming after all of creation because they're the sole purpose of creation, or could descend to the lowest point of creation, where even an animal takes precedence to the human being. And we just saw this last week. It was a terrible terrorist attack, tragic, in Israel, where a fanatical, evil terrorist opened fire on innocent Jews, killing two sisters, 18 and 20 years old, Rina and Maya D., and shooting the mother, Lucy, who was only 48 years old. Tragically, a few days later, the mother, Lucy, also succumbed to her wounds and her injuries and passed away, taking a family of 7, tragically, and reducing it to 4. But something remarkable happened. When the doctors told the husband of Lucy, after he lost his 2 daughters, and now his wife was struggling to stay alive, and they said, unfortunately, your wife is brain dead. We cannot save her. But they said, we can harvest her organs to help save other lives. And Rabbi Leodi gathered his surviving 3 children and discussed it with them. And they concluded that their mother, his wife, would want to, even in this darkest moment of tragedy, save the lives of others. And so 5 of her organs were transplanted into other people waiting for organ transplants. 1 kidney went to a 58-year-old man, Mordechai, who was waiting 7 years for a kidney transplant. 1 went to a 39-year-old woman. The heart of Lucy was transplanted into a 51-year-old man who needed a heart transplant. The liver into a 25-year-old man who was waiting for a liver transplant. And the lungs into a 5th person who was waiting for lungs, saving 5 lives. And literally, as Lucy was laid to rest, during her actual funeral on Tuesday of last week, doctors in 5 different operating rooms were transplanting her organs and creating life and saving the lives of people with children who will now live longer and healthier lives thanks to her generosity. And this is the contrast. On the one hand, you have an evil terrorist who has become lower than the lowest animal to take a gun and shoot at innocent, beautiful young girls, 18 and 20 years old, and a mother, 48, of a beautiful family, tearing their lives away from them and their families. The greatest evil known to man, cold-blooded murder. And at the same time, you have an example of a woman so selfless and a family so generous that in their darkest hour they said, let's find a little light, let's find a little love, let's take our tragedy and turn it into a blessing for others. Let's salvage whatever good we can from this story, showing us that a human being can rise above the worst evil and do good. That's the choice that every one of us has every day, to be the pinnacle of creation, or God forbid, the opposite. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.